When you look for supernatural guidance, do you place all your faith in God or do you look for other sources to help you?
I'll look for other sources to help me.
Same. I don't know. I look for everything, I guess. God, other things, whatever. I'm not that superstitious.
Other sources.
How about you?
I look for other sources. I guess I place my faith in God.
No, I don't necessarily place all my faith in God.
I look for other sources. I don't go to church.
Not so much God. I look to relatives and friends that have passed on, a little bit of guidance from them. I figure they have a little more insight as to they're on the other side, so maybe they can help me transfer to where I'm supposed to be.
I look for other sources, like the Bible maybe itself, or whatever religion the person is, whatever they believe in.
I place all my faith in the Lord Jesus, all of it.
There's so many different theories about a superior being, about God, there's atheists. I mean, there's so many different theories. It's hard to pick just one. Personally, I think that there's really not one superior being, that I tend to think that I really don't know what to think at this point right about now.
Who or what do you believe is the greatest power, superior being in the universe?
I guess God,
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Oh God. I don't know.
I'd say the president has a good power over the universe. More. Yeah, I'd say the president definitely.
I guess God would be.
God. I can't answer that question. I don't know.
I'd have to say God.
God.
How about you?
Same. God.
God, I guess.
God.
God, definitely.
Do you read your horoscope every day?
Or do you carry a good luck charm in your pocket to bring you luck?
There are lots of seemingly harmless things, practices, and patterns that can creep into our experience.
Before you know it, we begin to invest hope in these things.
We rely on them to help us make decisions.
We give them a power over our lives.
Even when we are unsure, we often observe the rules just in case they're true.
So do you put all your trust in God, or do you look to other sources to guide you?
Putting faith in things other than God. That's what we'll be talking about today on our show. Hi everyone, I'm Beth.
And I'm Ian.
And this is Real Faith TV.
At the beginning of our show, we got the views of some teens on the street who told us where they put their faith and trust.
Our spotlight guest is Eddie. He'll tell us about a low point in his life when he put trust in things that were not of God.
We will also talk with our studio guests, but first, let's go back to our teens on the street and find out if they are superstitious and take things like astrology seriously.
Do you take things like astrology and fortune tellers seriously?
No. I do, yeah. Because, I don't know. I think that they have some kind of a power over us. So, yeah.
I used to not, but lately there's been more and more influences and personal experiences that make me believe that maybe that there is something to the effect that these people maybe do have a talent that normal people don't, where they can see the future and they can predict what's going to happen.
Nah, I think it's just a joke. I mean, if you feel like having fun, you can go and ask, but hey, I mean, that's what they do. I don't believe it.
No, I don't, but they're fun. But no one could look at someone's palm and tell you your future. It doesn't work that way.
I enjoy doing it, but I don't take it very seriously. I just do it for fun.
No, because I think if one person can do it, anybody else can do it. So, no.
How about you?
No, I think it's stupid.
Definitely not.
No.
No.
I think they're entertaining, but I don't take them seriously.
No, not at all. I only think God knows what we do, nobody else, and that's about it.
Now, I'm not going to lie. Every once in a while, I do read my horoscope, but, I don't really believe it. I just kind of read it to laugh and have a little fun, but I don't take it seriously at all.
Yeah. Let's meet our studio guests and find out how they feel about this.
They are Anthony, Megan, Catherine, Katie, Matt, and Cora.
So are any of you superstitious? Do you take things like astrology or New Age beliefs seriously?
Well, you know, I'll like look at my horoscope like for kicks and giggles, but it's not like it's anything serious. Actually, it's pretty funny because everything I've ever read in a horoscope, almost the exact opposite has happened almost every time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I read my horoscope, and sometimes it's fun to see if it actually like works, but then there are those other days where it's not even your personality at all, or it's not even something you would do. So.
Or sometimes it's even just so general that it could really relate to anyone's life.
Yeah.
It's like something exciting will happen to you. Oh, gee.
Really? Soon.
But what about other things like, you know, walking under ladders or don't step on a crack or...
I definitely don't believe in that stuff. I mean, it's like, I step on cracks all the time. It's not like anything's really happened. I've walked under a ladder, I've broken
Your brother's
a mirror.
back never broke?
No.
I don't know. I've never broken a mirror. I've walked under ladders and stuff.
You've got
breaking mirrors.
I'm sorry. You know, superstitions I don't believe in, but as far as New Age beliefs and astrology and stuff, like, I take them seriously. I think that they're real, but I don't believe that we should embrace them. Like, I believe that they are powerful. I believe that they do exist, but I think that taking control of them is saying, I'm not going to do things God's way. I'm going to do whatever I want, even though I don't really know what's best for me at this point, and He does. So that's what I think the evil in them is that you're taking control of your own destiny recklessly instead of leaving it up to Him.
Yeah, it's like those people who wear like those lucky boxer shorts. They can't play a game without their lucky boxer shorts because God forbid, you know, like something might change. Or, you know, like they had a really good day, so they go through that routine every day just to hope that, you know, that specific routine would, you know, bring them good luck or whatnot. Or it's Friday the 13th. God forbid we do anything on Friday the 13th. Stuff like that.
Yeah, it can get a little interesting, but is it healthy for Christians to consult the stars before making decisions?
In ancient times, there was no distinction made between astronomy and astrology.
Back then, people believed a change in the stars or planets was a sign from the gods who lived up there that something important was about to happen.
Since that time, scientists have helped people to understand that the movement of planets and other heavenly bodies does not predict events on Earth.
For example, a comet has a repeating orbit. It will come again at the appointed time and has no special significance in the lives of people.
It's easy, though, for people to look to things like fortune tellers and astrology for answers.
Anything that looks like magic or promises the ability to know the future is very tempting to teens.
This is one of the reasons that Wicca has become so popular among teenagers.
Wiccans attempt to control a situation or change people by using spells and potions.
Our spotlight guest today, Eddie, has found himself curious about Wicca, a pagan religion.
In our next segment, he talks about how he got caught up in Wicca through a friend.
I was constantly praying for things and constantly praying for a better life, for for peace and everything. And I never really got that. I never really got what I wanted. So I eventually just said, you know what, I need to find something that's going to give me answers. I figured that this was the only answer for me. This was the only way that I could get my life to go the way I wanted. I first got involved with the girl on my swim team who was involved in Wicca for about 3 years, and we started talking and becoming very good friends, and she introduced me to it. And I saw how good her life was, how perfect everything was, and I said, you know what, I want that. She had a lot of friends, a lot of money. It seemed to me that she was loved by, everybody, and that's what I wanted to feel. I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to have what she had, and I didn't. I saw how all the other religions were basically the same. It was a lot of prayer and a lot of going to church and everything else, and I said, well, maybe this religion is something different, and once I started researching it, I saw how different it was, and how interesting it was. And it just kept luring me in deeper and deeper. Between Catholicism and paganism, there are a lot of conflicts, such as, the things that we believe in. In Catholicism, we believe in Jesus, we believe in God. And in, paganism, we believe in, all these gods and goddesses, and, we put our faith in tarot cards and astrology and everything else. So yeah, there's a lot of conflict, and especially for me, coming from a Catholic family, there was a lot of conflict for me because I was living my religion in kind of like a shadow.
I think Eddie made it really clear why things like Wicca can be so attracting to teens. He was saying, he was praying and praying, but he felt like he wasn't getting the answers. And I think that it's important for us to remember that just because it may not be the answer we want doesn't mean that God isn't there listening and doesn't hear our prayers. Wicca attracts many young women who are intrigued with the idea of worshiping a goddess who embodies the feminine attributes of nurturing and care.
In addition, many young people interested in the environment are lured to explore Wicca because of its reverence to the earth and natural elements.
So, do you guys know any people who practice Wicca or believe that charms and potions can ward off evil?
Well, actually, it's a really sad story. I had this one friend, and she had a really, really cruddy life. And she started to become a Wicca, and there was this one time when this guy asked her out, and she asked the guy out, and the guy's like, no. So then she curled up in fetal position and started rocking, and the guy's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm casting a spell so people like me. It was so bad, when it happened, because it was just you can't do that to people.
Get to really psych people
I was
out.
going to say, I also knew someone who practiced Wicca. I was visiting my sister who goes to a Catholic school, and this boy who I was talking with actually used to be Catholic, but for some reason he felt the urge to start practicing Wicca. It was really interesting, but I really couldn't understand why. He didn't really have a reason for why he became Wicca.
I actually know a lot of people who practice Wicca or other pagan religions, but mostly Wicca. One of my better friends does, and it's I've talked to people who practice Santeria and other voodoo religions, and Wicca is actually pretty mild, but I don't know. It's just the Catholic religion is so much more about everybody, whereas I find Wicca is really centered on yourself, one person. You are the people that you really care about, and it's not really about the good for everyone.
Yeah, a lot of being Catholic is caring about the community, and you're really only breaking up the community when you're trying to control other people like that.
Yeah, because I think that Wicca, it's, for lack of a better word, selfish, because it's more they seem like they're really impatient. I need answers now. I want God to answer prayers the way I want them, and they say that they don't have control over their lives, so they would like to practice Wicca so that they can hopefully find some answers. But I just think that there's certain things in your life that you can control, and then there's others that you have no control over. So I think that it's just a matter of finding a faith within yourself that you have to practice that is good for everybody.
And accepting the fact, that you don't have control over everything. I think that was a really good point that you made. Wicca can seem attractive to teenagers or really to anyone who's experiencing doubts about their life and their faith because it makes it appear that you can control your life.
But would it really be better if you could use spells and potions to get what you want?
Jesus was tempted to choose the same kind of easy answers after 40 days in the desert when he was dared to turn stones into bread.
Jesus didn't give in to the temptation to take matters into his own hands.
He knew that everything was in God's hands, and that was as it should be.
Eddie looked to Wicca for an easy answer.
In our next segment, he tells us how he didn't get the answers he was searching for, but found darkness and loneliness instead.
That really wasn't where the answers were. It was making me more depressed and more, more alone. But since I was very thick-headed back then, I continued to think that, things are gonna get better, and they didn't. They just got worse. A strange connection when I would practice it, and that feeling that I felt while I was, meditating or performing a spell, whatever. It was very. It was scary, it was scary how much it was like an out-of-body experience. It was very different to what I had ever felt before, and in a way it felt good because you weren't really there. You were kind of outside yourself, outside the world, but when you came back it was very dark and very lonely. I feel that that people who do these things don't acknowledge that they're calling upon the devil, but they are, and the devil is real, and his powers are real, and it's very serious. And I saw how I wasn't getting answers. I just said, well, what am I gonna do? I had nowhere to turn. And then after my grandfather died, it was really tragic for me. You know, I lost someone that I loved with everything I had, and I kept, you know, cursing God and saying, why? And eventually I said, you know, but he wouldn't want me to do what I was doing. You know, he would want me to put my trust in God because it was his time to go. And I think that's why I decided that, you know what, I can't keep doing this. I need to place my faith in God so that I can get through this, because with Wicca, I wasn't able to get through the death of my grandfather.
I think it's really interesting how, you know, when things really got tough and Eddie lost his grandfather, that's when he realized how much he needed God in his life and how much he really needed that faith, and that Wicca wasn't able to provide him with that.
I think it's kind of sad that it took such
a tragic experience.
Yeah, such a occurrence that he realized that God really should have been the first priority.
Yeah, like Eddie said, Wicca doesn't fill up the hole because God is the greatest source of power, and even though you can draw power from other places, Eddie only felt the true consolant of God because he's the biggest and greatest power in the universe.
Well, the death of his grandfather sort of like knocked him back into the right track, because, you know, he was sort of following he was following Wicca, and then after his grandfather's death, he found out that he couldn't keep doing that because it didn't really help his problems out, so he went back to his faith and believing God.
Something that I've noticed, that much like Eddie's story, kids that I know of that have practiced other religions, like paganist religions, that it seems to me that they all practice those religions and they all go to those religions for some reason or another, and they all seem similar. Like either they're depressed or they're lonely, or they just flat out need an answer that God's somehow not providing them.
Or they don't see that God is providing it for them.
It's always there. Their eyes just aren't open enough to see it.
Yeah. As Christians, we do not believe in superstitions or in magic. We believe that God endows each human person with free will, the ability to choose the good without manipulation or duress from any person or thing.
Anything that seems automatic in its promise of good or evil denies free will.
Christians do not believe that people's lives are predetermined.
Instead, Christians turn to God in prayer and trust, asking for guidance to choose what leads to life and to love.
It's not uncommon for fears to limit our ability to make good decisions. These fears can cause us to place our trust in the wrong things.
Superstitions and magic do not free us to make good choices. They are lies which entangle us into trusting powers apart from God.
Next, Eddie tells us how he put all of his faith in God and how there is nothing greater than the power of God.
Well, before I used to look to witchcraft and to good luck charms a lot. You know, I always believed that certain things that I possessed were good luck. But now it's completely different. All my faith goes to God, and it's not even a question anymore. The greatest power in the universe is, for sure, God. When I was unconsciously, I knew that I was worshiping the devil, but in the religion we don't acknowledge the devil. We don't believe that he's real. But I knew what I was doing, and the devil had a hold on me and brought me into a darkness. And God saw that I was falling, you know, and I had always believed in him. I had always prayed to him, and he saw what I was going through, and he just pulled me out and brought me into his light, and it was a different experience. Actually, up until my first Wednesday night prayer over here, it was a mess until I got there, and you know, I was just crying for no reason, you know, just because I felt this power come over me, and it was like nothing I had ever felt. You know, I've never felt so good, and that's what really turned me around. That's when I saw that, you know what, God's trying to reach out to me, and I keep rejecting him, and what he wants is for me to accept him into my life, and that's what I did. My relationship with God is very strong, and I feel that I can talk to him about anything, and I'm finally beginning to see that he is listening and that he answers, and my prayer life is very strong as well. You know, whenever I pray, I feel an answer, and I feel him listening. I know he's listening.
You know, I really liked what Eddie had to say about when he finally went back and started praying that one night, and he was just crying because he'd never felt anything like that before. I think that that's pretty amazing, and there's no power greater than the power of God.
And as Christians, we should put all of our faith in God, the one and only true God.
He reigns above all in heaven and on earth.
And prayer is the way we communicate with God.
Prayer is ultimately what turned Eddie around and brought him back to the Catholic faith.
Do you put all your faith in God?
Well, yeah, I find myself sometimes to believe that I blame God for the little bad things and also thank Him for the little good things. Like this morning, I was bringing some coffee on a tray downstairs, and I almost fell. I tripped over my feet, and I caught myself. And then I was like, I blamed God for that. And but then I found out later, I was like, wait a minute, God saved me from that. But that was also a little mental note saying that, like, God's not there to push you down the stairs or catch you. He's there to catch you from the big things in life, like, making the big decisions and stuff like that.
Yeah, God is a great person to rely on. He's like the friend that will never let you down no matter what. And He's always there for you, and He's always there to help you and give you strength. And He's just the best person to rely on. I mean, who else is there? Who else is higher than God? Nobody. I mean, He's just the best.
Exactly, I completely agree, and that's why I think I also put all my faith in God. Just someone who's always there no matter what. He's there for you to thank Him if you need help, anything. It's just a prayer away.
Yeah, and you have your whole family, you have your friends to learn from. You get through everyday life learning from everybody around you, but there's always God, and He's the main person that you learn from. He's there to teach you everything.
Yeah, if you go with the guy who created the universe, you can't go wrong.
I know, I put all my faith in God, but it can be hard sometimes because faith is something where you don't always know how things are going to go. Like, for example, right now, I'm getting ready to leave for college soon, and I'll admit, that's something that scares me, going away to a new place with new people, and that's what's hard about faith is because it's usually with things you don't have the answers to, you don't know where you're going, and you're a little bit afraid, but that's what's so incredible about God is that you can just give it all up to Him, and He'll be there for you and carry you through that situation.
I know it's hard for me not to put faith in yourself, you want to control your own destiny. You don't want to trust someone else, even if you know they're right. There's always a part of you that wants to be like, but I want this, or I think I want this.
Right.
So it's hard not to want to try to control things yourself.
Well, how has prayer helped you guys to build trust in God so that you don't need anything like superstitions or anything which might lead you away from God?
Well, you need to talk to the person that you're relying on. You need to talk to the person that you're like, hey, I need your help. You just do what you do and I'll go over here. You have to stay in constant communication. And the way to do that is to pray and is to have a relationship with God in that way.
Yeah, it's just if I really, I pray normally, but in times that I really need God, it's just that I know He's there, and it's just so easy to talk to Him because no matter what you say, He's always going to understand what you say. So that just helps. That helps me be confident in how I talk to Him, and it helps me talk to Him about what I need and everything.
I know that most people pray mostly when they want something, and I pray when I want something too, but I also make a point of praying when something really good happens or when I'm happy. And that's also kind of a constant reminder that, good things happen when you put your trust in Him.
Yeah. Whenever I pray, I start out first by usually, the things that are troubling me or whatever I may want at the time, and I talk to God about those things. And then I always ask God for forgiveness for all the things that I've done wrong. And then lastly, I always thank Him for all the wonderful things in my life or whatever I'm feeling especially thankful for at that time. And I think in doing that when I pray that it allows me to put all my faith in God and to truly trust in Him because I see the three different aspects in a way that He's affecting my life.
Yeah, because I don't think that God is this person that gives you what you ask for. Like if I get a good grade on a test, I'm not going to say, oh, thank you, God, because, I studied, I get a good grade. So I think that by praying to God, I don't really ask for things. I just pretty much, like you said, I thank Him for things that that I have no control over, such as like the birth of a cousin or just getting over from being sick or things that of that nature.
Yeah, because God will never work for you and never work against you. He'll only work with you.
I like that.
So, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, it's just when I usually pray now, I like to ask for other people, for Him to help other people rather than myself, because I know in my life I am very content with who I am and what I am as a person. So I feel as if I don't really need anything right now. So I like to pray for other people and about the war in Iraq and for my mom and everything of that nature.
Things like astrology, witchcraft, and superstitions interfere with our reliance on and relationship with God.
If we believe that other things have control, we give them power over our lives and we commit idolatry.
In the first commandment, God reminds us, I am the Lord your God. You shall not have other gods before me.
When we turn away from God as the source of our lives and all good things,
we open ourselves up to deception and lies.
This is the opening that true evil is looking for in the human person.
We must always trust God.
God alone has the power to change things in the world and change us if we let Him.
Have you ever fallen into the trap of any of these beliefs and then found your way back to God, like Eddie?
Share your story with us through our website.
Log on to it at www.realfaithtv.com.
Or call us at 609-406-7402.
And always remember that there is only one God, to whom all the honor, the power, and the glory belongs.
In Him we placed all our hope and trust.
And through His Son, Jesus Christ, we have been given the gift of everlasting life.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on Real Faith TV.
God bless.